Terminator Dark Fate is directed by Tim Miller and is written by David, actually co-written by David S. Goyer and also by Billy Ray, and is based on a story by, it's actually based on a story that James Cameron actually came up with, and James Cameron actually produced this time. And once again, it features the return of Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor again, and it also has Arnold Schwarzenegger come back as the Terminator. And this is now the sixth film in the long-running Terminator franchise, and this is considered basically the true sequel, as we see this a lot of movies, where it's ignoring the events of 3 to 5 and just following the first two movies.
Yeah, like,
and
it's kind of like Halloween, where they ignore the sequels and go into the true definitive sequel.
Yeah. And then in this one, we have it to where it's set 22 years after the events of the original. Well, about 25 years after the events of the original film, or events of Terminator 2: Judgment Day, where we deal with, as you see in the trailers, we got this girl this girl named Danny. She's a little girl that's trying to this young teenager that's trying to basically live her life and stuff. She's getting attacked by a Terminator that comes in called the Rev 9. And she has to get saved by Mackenzie Grace's character, who basically. I
think it's Mackenzie Davis.
Davis, I'm sorry, her name is Grace. Yeah, Mackenzie Davis, who plays Grace, who basically comes in to have to protect her, and she's also pretty much kind of a half human, half Terminator. And
which, by the way, we saw that in Terminator Salvation with Sam Worthington's character.
Yeah. And along the way, they come across Sarah Connor, once again played by Linda Hamilton, who has to basically protect her and all them, and basically have to stop and survive. That's basically the general risk of it. Now, keep in mind, here later on, we will be discussing major spoilers. So for those of you who haven't seen it, we'll get to the spoilers here soon. But we'll just go on just a little bit of backstory. As you've seen, if you've been following our channel a long time, we actually did a retrospective of all the Terminator films. And the first two films, what can we say? They're one of the biggest landmarks of science fiction and action movies combined.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're not only in my top 50 favorite films of all time, both T1 and T2, but I think we can all agree, majority, almost everybody I see, has 1 and 2 on, their top 100 favorite films of all time. 1 being groundbreaking, 2 being probably groundbreaking as far as sequels, because you never see a sequel that damn good.
Yeah.
And then a little backstory also, then T3 came out, which was kind of forgettable. Wasn't a big fan on the John Connor and the girl in that one, but I did love the ending, which threw me off. Like, I was like, what? For a mediocre movie, that ended on a sad note.
It did.
That really kind of helps 3 a little bit for me. And then we had 4, Salvation, which with Christian Bale playing John Connor. And that's where most of us wanted to see a whole movie of what it was like after Judgment Day really happens.
Yeah, and it actually led up to that. It was going to be its own trilogy.
Yeah, exactly, until, rights got fucked up, blah, 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 blah. Long story short. And then, I think it was 2015.
Yeah, 2015.
We got Genesis, which you can go back and watch a review on that. Justin and I tore the fucking shit out of that movie.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, that to me pretty much killed the franchise at that point.
Yeah, that one was trying to do, which, by the way, I will give Genesis a credit a little bit. Get what they were trying to do, but I knew it was going to go into territories of fucking up, because you're going back to 1 and 2 and you're changing what ifs. And it just, after that, I start thinking that's just going to create a conveyor belt of problems, because you're just basically saying that they could just keep coming back and changing.
Yeah,
it's a forever problem.
And the problem with that, too, was that they also set up yet another trilogy that never got made because the movie flopped, and also rights issues. And now we get yet their third attempt on trying to do supposedly a trilogy, where in regards to the franchise, as you've maybe heard behind the scenes, there were rights issues going back to possibly to James Cameron in 2020. So for that time being, basically, it was Tim Miller's idea to try to basically do something to ignore the other sequels and kind of follow the original movie's footsteps, which I can understand. I understand if you want to follow the first two movies' timelines and do something a little different to kind of, bring back the original cast, mainly Sarah Connor and the Terminators and all them. And also, they want to bring James Cameron back because James Cameron came back as a producer and he also had a story idea, which I don't know if it was like an old story that they use or whatever, but they use his input to try to make this one, which I can understand
Exactly.
the concept fine. But
Yeah, and then not only that, they Edward Furlong got somewhat credited for a cameo, and we got Linda Hamilton back, which I haven't seen her in anything in a long time. So her back as Sarah Connor, Arnold. I'm giving Arnold one shot because Arnold's being overly at this time. I'm overly done with Arnold being in the franchise, but I want to give him one more shot because of Linda and Edward Furlong. And
yeah,
then, so when I heard about it, I was like, okay, this might be a good direction. And
yeah,
then we got the trailers to this film. And while the trailers were coming out, there was also the speculation that Tim Miller went out and said something about he was going political SJW with the film.
yeah, which
And which he basically was going to do a Paul Fig in Ghostbusters 2016. And we already know how the fuck that turned.
yeah. And
So
also,
that
there was
right
also
there with
some
the
very misleading kind of things with the trailers, which, again, we won't go into spoilers, but let's just say that there's certain things that you're kind of watching in trailers that seem very, like, misleading, so to speak. Unlike
yeah.
Genesis trailers, which basically
Well,
spoil.
when I saw the trailers to it, I will admit that while it was cool seeing Linda Hamilton and all that, but the way that it was marketed and some of the lines that coming out of the actors and actresses' mouths in the trailers started bothering me a little bit. I was like, I'm not liking this direction, but I'm gonna give it a shot. What can you say? Can't be worse than Genesis. Boy, was I fucking wrong.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Now, I have these two films tied down there, but for the most part, after Spawn seeing this film, holy shit, this was fucking bad.
This was.
This beyond fucking atrocious. Oh, I don't know whether this is worse than Genesis or I mean, it could be tied, but I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of things now that I appreciate more in Genesis than this fucking movie.
Yeah, because, well, where do we start? Well, to get
I
any
mean,
pros out of the
Miller,
way.
let me before we get into it. How can you get the original people back? I mean, fuck, you even got a cameo for Edward Furlong for crying out loud. You get James Cameron, and you managed to be worse than fucking Genesis?
Yeah. And ironically, keep in mind, I also question James Cameron's taste in films because he not only said Genesis was fucking good, but also he said this movie was. So I'm like, I don't know what they're doing with your franchise anymore, James Cameron.
They're talking about, well, James Cameron's really going off the, because if you think about it, he's so addicted to his Avatar series, is fucking dedicated to that. No one knows what the fuck he's on these
Yeah,
days. But anyways, yeah, this movie, my God, was I fucking pissed when I walked out of this. This was uncalled for to
it
be
was.
this bad. And coming from Tim Miller, who did Deadpool, which I absolutely loved, I mean, why go into this politically motivated for one? Why don't you fucking do that shit in make a political movie? Don't do that in this fucking movie.
Well, that and before we get into more of the movie, if I'm gonna have like really any kind of pros that I would
Bro.
get into it, I will
Mhm.
say that the novelty of, well, I'll say this: Linda Hamilton and Arnold's performances were good for what they're given, but they have little to work with because a lot of it factors in with the script and a lot of the really bad direction that we'll get into later. But for the most
Yeah,
part,
not like you said, the novelty of Linda Hamilton and Arnold back is a good thing, and the novelty of hearing that they wanted to get Edward Furlong's likeness cameo in that one scene, which I'm sure everybody's been fucking spoiled. But anyways, it was cool in the novelty, so I'll give that a pro. Another novelty I will give, and by the novelty I mean that it's cool seeing them, but then the movie fucks them up. So it's 50-50. I actually would like to see what they could have done more with that actor who played the villain. I think it's
Gabriel Luna.
Gabriel something.
Luna.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Gabriel Luna. That's another guy that I felt like he had potential, and there is cool things I liked about Rev 9, the Terminator. It's just that he's very kind of wasted in a way because a lot of his like his personality and stuff, it's a little too, it's trying too derivative like the T-1000, the other Terminators, which is understandable. But if it was done in probably a better movie, I probably could have seen his performance work a lot better.
Yeah.
But he did have some cool general like things like the way he can like split into like two Terminators and stuff. I do like the features.
Yeah, that was a cool addition. And I thought the film lacked using him to their potential because while he kept multiplying into that T-800 looking thing, and he was like a liquid dude, I also kind of felt that a little bit lazy because I felt like they wanted to pay homage to 2 and 1 so much that why don't we just make a villain that has both of the powers? That's lazy.
And a little bit of a T3, the TX.
Yeah. See, it was like taking all of those and just mashing up to one, which is, I guess, a good idea, but lazy one at that. I mean, he could have done more crazier shit. Like, could you imagine if he could multiply in like 20 different things? That would have been an epic battle.
Yeah.
But
and I will admit that, again, this is kind of a 50-50. We'll get to more of our spoilers on this. But there's something I do want to give a pro with, but we'll have to wait until we get to the spoiler section on it. And it's in regards to the CGI for what they use with it. But anyway, the other pro I will say is there are ideas in the film that I think could work if it was done properly better. Like, for example, the whole novelty of Sarah Connor's art that she wanted to do in this kind of like survivalist kind of thing, I think would work in a different type of, if the movie was a lot better executed. Because the way they present it, unfortunately, it's sidelined to so much the fucking point that we really don't get a lot of focus out of it. And two, like Sarah Connor is pretty much like in most of, like, it comes in the second act, like the first 30 minutes, and then she's in it, but she's mainly sidelined a lot because of all the other characters. But my other thing I will say too is there is an element that I think could have worked with Arnold's character, because Arnold's character is a guy, as you see in the trailers, he's basically secluded and they find him. Well, there's an approach that I kind of wish they would have went with if it was in a better movie, like taking a whole old man type Terminator approach, like Logan.
I was about to bring that up. Could you imagine if they would have did an old man Arnold and old lady Sarah Connor together fighting, and then having something happen to John by that Luna guy, and that could have been just them after him, and he's the ultimate badass? That would have been a better fucking movie. But instead, I mean, do you have any more pros before we get to our cons?
I mean, it's also kind of good hearing the score again from the classic.
I mean, really, the score was generic to me, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, hearing the classic Terminator theme in parts.
I mean, if I want to, I'll just put on my fucking my cell phone and get.
I will say this now. There is one other pro I will say, even though it's very sidelined, it's kind of like very glossed over. The scenes where it shows like in the future and stuff, where we get to hear more about her backstory, I will say on the cinematography, it did feel like I was watching Salvation again with the whole like bleak look they were going for.
Yeah,
that I felt was pretty cool.
Yeah, that part. So we get here. Oh my God, the cons is gonna be a lot.
Yes.
I don't know where to fucking begin. I can start off by spoilers. So here it is, spoiler. We are going to spoil, so you're warned. If you don't want to watch the spoilers yet, get off the video, and when you see it, come back here and see if you agree or disagree. But now it's spoiler. Oh my God, the opening of this fucking movie, I knew I was in for a fucking living nightmare. What is up with the CGI in this fucking film? How do we go from 1980s, 1990, and the fucking goddamn graphics look better? Fuck 3, 4, and 5, even though 5 had some bad stuff, look better. opening with these these T-800s walking out of the fucking water. Looks like a fucking video game. I thought it was
Yeah.
animated at first. I'm like, what the fuck? It looks so terrible. Some of the
Yeah.
CGI I've seen all fucking year.
And we just saw replicas this year too, and that movie was on that level. That's how fucking bad it looks.
This is a Terminator film, and to find out that they spent 130 million goddamn dollars, and that's what we get for CGI.
Yeah, it's like,
What
did you
was
not?
that? What was that 130 spent on Arnold's useless character? I mean, come on. And then here we go, we opening. Now, I will say that one of my pros I forgot earlier was Linda Hamilton and Edward Furlong's likeness, their face, because they go back to 1998, 1997, after Judgment Day, where they've moved on to Mexico City, where they're hiding out, and we get to see Edward Furlong's likeness, which was pretty nostalgic for a second. And while they look good, I don't know what the fuck they did with Arnold's look, as far as the person that played Arnold is young, because Arnold's skin tone does not match.
Don't. I'm like, so what you're telling me is,
let's just say that, let's take Arnold's face and plaster his face on George Lopez. I'm not talking on body, I'm talking about skin tone. You're like,
yeah,
the fuck? In fact, just to make you laugh a little bit, didn't he kind of remind you of that motherfucker that shoots Scarface, Tony Montana?
yeah.
Sunglasses, and it's all cleaned up. Just like motherfucker. I was like, oh my god, you did them two right, but what was this?
Yeah, because Linda Hamilton's like young lightness look, where it makes her look like from Terminator 2, looked fucking great. I was like, wow, that is awesome.
Edward Furlong's might have looked a little too small, the body did, but I could give it a pass. Not Arnold's. Arnold's looked like fucking shit. But, well, like I said, spoilers, and we all got spoiled. Unfortunately, a lot of people got spoiled on this.
I did too.
John Connor off.
In the first 5 minutes of the movie, we already lose our main character from the last movie. Oh, remember Aliens, how they did that with Hicks and Newt? We're going to do the same thing when we kill them off in the third movie.
Yeah,
same thing here.
That worked perfectly, Tim Miller. That's just a good direction. That's worked so fucking good in the other movies, haven't it? Yeah. That was a big fuck you. Number one, there's a lot of fuck yous to us.
Yep.
Anyways, so now we get introduced to our soon-to-be new John Connor. What can I say? The girl chosen for this role? No. She
was so like, well, here's the thing too. I can get what you're kind of wanting to do, basically, because the novelty like this, I see, because a lot of people compared this to, like, say, The Force Awakens, how it's basically a legacy sequel, how they're doing derivative of characters, but kind of doing their own thing. No, not this one. This girl that they set up, she's just a regular girl who's living in Mexico, and, there's nothing really to her character. She's literally John Connor as a female. That's literally the whole fucking character she is.
Yeah, it's John Connor with the sex change is pretty much what it is. So, anyways, we get we're back in Mexico. We've had I don't know how many films like that this year of classics. Rambo. What was the other one? I forgot.
Three from Hell. Three from Hell.
So we get this one taking place in Mexico, and she goes to work. Next, we got Terminators. Well, we'll get the girl one who's there as pretty much a carbon copy of Sam Worthington's character, where she was human once, was damn near killed in the future war, and then was kind of turned high tech. Oh, you stole from fucking Salvation, you dumbass. Tim, I caught you.
It's more of a mix with that with Kyle Reese, because she's a soldier, and it kind of mixed in with Worthington's way of basically like, human mixed with Terminator, so to speak.
Not to mention she's playing the Arnold part where she's the good person.
Yeah.
In the save, and then you also get the next scene where the bad guy falls out of the sky. Oh, by the way, when the fuck did they start falling out of the sky instead of popping out
Yeah.
those bubbles? Guys, I'll tell you, when that Luna guy came on the screen, I thought I was watching Mortal Kombat. The way the graphics was.
Annihilation.
Yeah, I was like, I was ready to hear Mortal Kombat. Like, the
Well,
fuck?
not to backtrack, but also that scene where Mackenzie Davis Grace shows up, and when she first shows up, with that first scene that we get into that fight scene she's in with those cops. Not only was that shit poorly lit where I couldn't fucking tell what was happening, but that CGI was awful, man. The way she was moving and shit.
AVP Requiem Part 2.
Oh god, the dark scenes really.
Yeah, you can't see shit. And I think it was because they didn't want to show too much of her nudity. There's ways you can light around that. But anyways, yeah, she's basically kicking everybody's ass. And really, to be honest with you, Mackenzie Davis did all right. But I personally thought, if the as far as human slash whatever, between her and Sam Worthington, I'll put it at that. I'm not, not picking sides here per se, out of gender. I would love that she would have been more interesting, but I thought Sam Worthington's was a lot better.
Well, and that to
Better
me
written.
also fights, yeah, better written because to me I felt like Sam Worthington's character in Salvation, I bought more with like his purpose and everything, and he was actually a character I kind of followed a lot better where his journey was going. This character, she's literally carbon copying fucking his character and Kyle Reese into one. There's really nothing that stands out with her character.
And I really didn't get the whole where she felt like she was a badass enough to fucking talk shit to Arnold and a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Just that's kind of like Ghostbusters, you got the whole like switching the whole. This is the political part of the movie, and again, I don't like the I don't like politics in films like this. They don't belong here. And they were in this film. Miller even admitted to it. He was pulling a Paul Fig, and I'm sorry, it failed yet again. It made the movie fucking atrocious. That be able
Yeah.
to sit, So, but she was just okay. So we go in the story. It's basically a simple fucking plot, and that's another thing I got problems with. The fucking plot. The plot is literally stolen from every movie. This is
It's
the most
literally
laziest writing
it's
movie.
literally the first two movies all over again.
Yeah, this movie was written horribly bad. I mean, let's go and pay homage. There's a difference between homage and there's using the word homage to get away with stealing a script because you're too fucking stupid to write one.
Yeah,
And
and
this
not to
one
mention, well, not just that. The one thing I will say that this one, there's a couple aspects I prefer this a little over Genesis. Genesis had its problem with its editing, the way it was fucking going through different timelines again, doing the same fucking shit. This one, I will at least have one respect. They at least kept it consistent where it's very straightforward. It's not as
it is a
messy.
straightforward film.
It's all at least competent in that regard, and that's one thing I do at least respect about Tim
I
Miller.
agree with you. Dark Fate was edited a lot better. However, the movie is very standard. It doesn't. It just flows. It becomes really more of a rush game, and it's weird because it's also not a rush game. Because another issue I have in the middle of the film, mainly, I was incredibly bored. I actually fell asleep twice.
Yeah,
Granted,
this
a couple
movie.
minutes,
I was on my phone.
but yeah, I was just really bored. I I mean, you made Linda Hamilton's lines boring. I was bored with everything I was watching. And of
Yeah.
course they give her the I'll be back and then that smile smirk when she blows up the dude. But she goes down there to check on the fucking car to see if she did kill the Luna guy. And he gradually walks past her and she didn't even see that.
Well, they also left earlier to the fucking in the car, and then like she's no, the robot's still down there, but she don't do anything. She just leaves after the fucking car leaves. After
I will
the
say that as far as protector, she is a pretty useless protector,
yeah,
honestly. Compared to the rest of the protectors in the other movies, she's useless half the time because she also develops this health problem where she seizes up a lot. I'm like,
yeah.
the fuck is that got to be in here for? Makes no fucking sense. So, anyways, that's another fucking issue. What else can I
Well,
bitch about?
we got to get into
Arnold.
this.
Arnold, really, I love you, man. You've been the face of the franchise, but it's time to hang it up. You have no part of this story anymore because really, I think it's hurting him being in these films because these Terminators, for one, weren't even supposed to age, so they had to write a storyline to keep Arnold to make money. And I think at this point now, I think I am Arnold out. I'm bored out of him. He needs to call it.
Yeah, it does the same shit like Genesis did, where the Terminators can age apparently, and they're doing that. So even though they're disregarding the sequels, they're still referencing shit that it's like the movie can't even make itself up whether it wants to appease to the original fans or try to do for like new fans to come in. And either way, it's so disjointed.
It's 90% new fans, 10% because another issue I had was when they do go nostalgic, where they bring Arnold in, and you have Linda talking about her past, bringing up John Connor, so on and so forth. They come in speckles because we're mainly following Mackenzie Davis's character and the girl that's going to be the new John Connor. And going back to that girl, I don't know if I mentioned it, I can't remember, but that girl was probably the worst cast like the worst actress in this movie, like the worst.
She was.
Yeah, like if you named everybody out of this, Luna, Mackenzie Davis, all them, the main girl who's supposed to be the new John Connor was poorly casted. Horrible.
She was also, not to mention, there's also the most convenient shit that we get into, which to build up to that. So when we get to the part where this factors in with the Terminator coming back, when they have to go look for help, where apparently now Mackenzie Davis's Grace character can find the Terminators, conveniently finds fucking Arnold in the woods after coming across apparently where he's working.
They had that thing written on her stomach, and she is so high tech that she's able to put her finger in this charger thing, and it tells exactly the coordinations.
Yeah,
and it's just like this is where it's kind of rushing because they just want to get to the point. And while it benefits people like me that's already so pissed off I can't wait for the credits to roll, at the same time, it's just making your movie a lot worse. And they find Arnold, and Arnold's pretty much, by the way, like we said with spoilers, Arnold was the one who kills. And he actually, in a way, the trailer is actually kind of giving away. Because he goes, I know why you're mad.
Yeah, she's like, because in the trailer it shows Sarah saying, when this is over, I'm going to kill you. And then he's like, I understand. So it's like, I kind of know where this is going now. Thanks, fucking trailer. And then also,
Arnold has been having this family that he's been taking care of because his mission was over. You would think that the Terminator would terminate itself. They don't need to be around where there's evidence. But no, he goes on living. And really has no purpose to live, but he does. And he's working as a drapes installer. A fucking drapes installer, really? At first, I thought it was diaper wiper installer. I got confused at first till I saw drapes again. I'm like, oh, it's drapes installer. I'm like, really? What the fuck? Out of anything? A guy who puts up drapes. Nice. I don't know if Tim Miller's making fun of the nostalgia people on this and making them belittled while praising the other two fuckheads that I don't give a shit about. I mean, it's pathetic. It's pathetic with how they wrote Arnold in. And there's a lot of people that agree that the Arnold thing that's written in felt too forced and it shouldn't have not been there.
And there's a problem with that too. Here's a problem with the writing with this. Because apparently Arnold's living in isolation now. He's settled down and everything, and he's trying to basically, he feels sorry about what happened with Sarah Connor and killing John. Now, there's two problems with this. One, if you go back to the original Terminator, that scene where Kyle Reese is talking to Sarah about how Terminators are not basically, they're emotionless, they don't have feelings, they don't have pity. What do they do with that? They fucking say, nah, we're not going to use that. This Terminator is a lot different.
They got love, they got compassion, which, you know what? I can get that if the Arnold and T2 breaking that barrier and falling in love with John, I love that. That worked. But
Because
now it's
know,
getting too upbeatish now. It's getting
what
too fucking out there.
Yeah, you know why it worked in T2? Because for those of you who have seen the special edition, they uninstall that chip of his and they actually activate it to where it learns. That shows that he basically grows attached with John. Here, none of that is established.
Yeah, you're right about that. And news flashes for people who are fucking stupid and don't understand. These Arnolds are not the same Arnold from T2.
Exactly.
If I'm just had to address that to the dumbasses that probably like, well, Arnold should be learning because he learned. It's not the same fucking dude. No. Hey, that one died in the fucking fire doing that.
No,
but anyways,
if it would have press, I could probably buy that if they got inside. But no, when this Terminator shows up, he doesn't have that chip uninstalled, so there's no fucking way that could have worked. So
and I and it's just I felt it weird how they brought why he decided that he knew. I'm having a hard time understanding how he knew the events was going to go down when a Judgment Day and how everything got changed. Because if another thing that pisses me off, and Genesis did this, started this whole this trend. So in this one, they bring up how Skynet doesn't exist anymore. Happened in Genesis, where they says Genesis. And this one is called Legion. How the fuck if that didn't exist, if he's a Skynet and Legion was not even in his like realm, how would he know what Legion was preparing? That makes no sense. Because Legion's supposed to be a new business.
Well, also, there's two things that I have a problem with this. For one, I'm pretty sure in Terminator 1 and at the end of Terminator 2, when they defeated Skynet, you would think they would basically find some other type of documents or maybe something in there that would possibly point out that there's other sources. What ruins the whole fucking concept is the fact that this company, Legion, was able to do other shit and then basically create, doing the exact same fucking thing that Skynet does, but also it's illogical because after the events of Terminator 2, they clearly established that the future is pretty much not set, but they keep sending Terminators back and forth to send Sarah Connor.
It's a revolving door, really. There's no fucking end to it. That's why T2, I thought, was a good closure that should never continue with the franchise. And another thing that brought up my problem in this film was the fact that Arnold was actually, whenever he comes and killed John Connor, after they destroyed everything Skynet, they apparently that the only way they can bring Arnold in this one, he was a forgotten one.
Yeah, I'm like, really?
Fucking lazy after lazy writing. It's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Well, anyways,
we get also where Sarah Connor, should be butthurt that's the fucking motherfucker that killed her son. She brings up the events and talks about her killing him and all that stuff, but their hatred is very short-lived, and it's kind of weird for Sarah Connor because you would think that she's a pretty blunt woman. She won't let shit go. So their banter is only apples and oranges, and it's over with. Like, quick. Yeah.
And I also have a problem with this, and this is the big one. This is the reason why they gave a big fuck you to John Connor in this movie, was the fact that his death is not justified. The only thing that we get out of this entire fucking movie is the fact that he's getting replaced with the other girl. Literally, his death has no fucking bearing with the entire plot, other than the fact that
if you guys know anything about the Terminator franchise, this is the plot of it. John Connor and Sarah Connor are the main people. John Connor, actually, technically not being in one, is still the main reason.
The leader of the resistance.
You can't fucking wipe him out and call yourself Terminator, because he is the face of the franchise. That's how 1 started. That's how 2 led into. That's how 3 led into. That's how 4 happened. They still use it in 5 because he was taken hostage and turned into one, killed and turned into one, still to save John Connor. So in this one, John Connor doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Omar. Oh, you're the new John Connor. Because anybody could be a John Connor. Anybody could be a fucking tree, I guess. Anybody can be a cat. We're on that trend. Anybody could be a fucking bush. Why do we have to keep doing these in these type of fucking movies? Really? Do you have to be anything in every movie?
exactly. And not to mention,
And
what
the
I also
person you chose is fucking bullshit. And before we jump into the fucking sexist talk, let me remind Tim Miller that I love this movie. I loved 1 and 2, and my favorite character is Sarah Connor. So don't bring me that bullshit. For one, she's a strong woman, and two, I also love the aliens. Sigourney Weaver, strong woman. I love strong women movies. So don't come in here with this fucking sexist bullshit. Oh, you don't like the new girl because she's not a man. You want a man. So don't give me that bullshit. I'm not gonna listen to it. I've already fucking spoke my mind. So yeah, and then we get to the fucking ending abruptly, and there's just your standard go to the $5 bin final fight,
well
and
before
it ends with
that,
the typical Arnold dying like he does in every fucking movie, saving the day with
yeah,
the sad music playing in the background.
also the build up to that, I wanted to point out too. What's also a big fuck you, and this is what I really got pissed off after thinking about it. Mackenzie Davis's character tells the girl Danny about the backstory. Leads into pretty much like why she wanted to help her and everything, and she basically tells her that Danny pretty much saved her in the future when she was still a little kid. And what does she say? Mackenzie Grace actually literally points out in her own way that there is no fate but what we make for ourselves. Now, where did we first hear that line? Part two. And no, don't count. I'm not counting the fucking theatrical cut. I'm counting the special edition. You know who said that? Kyle Reese. They basically gave a big fuck you to his character too, even though they
That's
pointed
a
out,
that's all Tim Burton did. He should have just put that. He should have put the poster of 1 and 2 and has middle finger up, and he was silently doing that, and that's what I caught on. That's what I
yeah,
got out of it. Another issue I had is this all could have been avoided had that Mackenzie Davis would have been more braver, like the Kyle Reese and the rest of them in the other movies, and told her that she holds the key in her belly that kills the motherfucker.
yeah,
It's the only thing that can kill him.
and yet,
Gee, aren't you a little bit fucking what's the word? Um Selfish?
yeah, pretty much. It's like you could have done this entire time, and really, if you look at it, Arnold has no purpose after that because it's like, so what you're telling me is we get Arnold to tag along, and literally his death, his sacrifice, didn't even need to happen. In fact, if you look at it, you could even cut out Arnold altogether and just use her. It's like, why the fuck did you even waste your time?
Well, anyways, this movie was horrible. I'm glad it is bombing. I hope it fucking ends this franchise. The franchise terminated itself. It terminated itself after 4, in my opinion. Personally, 1 and 2 should be the only
Yeah,
2 movies, but I'll give 3 and 4 a pass. They're
yeah,
there. I can at least say they're there. 5 and 6 went, bye, you're terminated.
yeah,
And Dark Fate, yeah, more like Dark Fate, as in Dark Fate. There ain't no more fate of this fucking franchise at all. I have
yeah,
no. They need to end it. Tim Miller, a big fuck you. You're a dumbass for how you presented this movie. James Cameron, get better fucking taste and come out and actually admit that T1 and T2 is still better than the other ones. You don't have to jump on the my new movies are the best. No, they're
Well,
not.
well, and also, ironically enough, they did say that I don't know if this is still true or not, but in 2020, Cameron himself is also getting the rights back. So if he ends up directing another one in the future, I don't know at this point what they're going to do. But there's no this franchise to me, like you were saying, it didn't need to continue after 1 and 2. In fact, and this is another thing I wanted to rant on real quick. Basically, this film makes the other two movies seem like their legacy had no fucking purpose.
Yeah,
Everything that we had in
end
the
all.
first two movies
Yeah,
had no
yeah,
reason to exist, basically.
yeah. Nothing exists, but apparently this film. Yeah, I could go on more and more, but I do not recommend this film. It's going to be in my top 10 worst. It might actually be one of my worst films I've seen this year. That being said, this film's a big fucking flatline on the Film Freaks meter.
Yeah, this is a flat line for me too, man. It left me very angry, and it's don't get me wrong. I hate Genesis on the same level, but this one is like I can't even fucking compare. Like, ugh. But
Yep.
anyway, for those of you who have also seen Terminator, Dark Fate, and also the rest of the other Terminator films, let us know in the comments below what you thought about them. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel and check out some other reviews here and our website at filmfreaks.com. We'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.